According to history, we may have just found the bottom for Canadian real estate. That's according to history if we follow the same path of Ontario in 1990 and the US of 2007. So it was a very similar 3-year run up to the peak and about 10 years, 9 or 10 years until the peak came back in both 2007 and 1990. And as you can see, a very similar drop, and what Bank of Montreal is forecasting, we are somewhere near the bottom. Let's see how this plays out. Don't shoot the messenger though. This is what BMO Economics is forecasting. A group of people much smarter than me went to school to study economics, to study these types of things, and probably much smarter than you, unfortunately, believe that this is the case. I don't really think we are stabilizing at this point, considering how low the number of sales is happening. I think that's really indicative of the prices that need to come down. And mortgage rates really aren't coming down. Even though this is a July 17th article, I haven't really seen mortgage rates come down, and incomes certainly aren't growing. Again, I'm not sure exactly where they are getting this information from. But these are the people that went to school to learn these types of things and to put these types of reports out. Now, we all know that we had speculation and froth in the 2022 market. That is why it rose so fast. And then, after saying the market will have low interest rates for a long time, they raised it extremely fast and broke the entire housing market, and we saw a huge crash. And national home prices fell 16%. That's national prices, certainly much higher in some pockets. And housing crashes don't just happen overnight. They happen and are measured in years, not months and quarters. And interestingly, we are at year 5, and it also took 5 years to get to the bottom for the US housing crisis. And for Ontario, a 5 to 7 year. So we are at lower prices, and eventually valuations are brought back in line with the longer running norms. The return to the mean is what some people have called this. And yes, the Canadian housing market has made significant progress. We are significantly down, especially in some areas, my area specifically in Surrey, down a lot from the peak. And if you look at the Fraser Valley in orange and the Greater Vancouver area in green, this is the MLS HPI price all the way back to 2005 here. You can see this general trend that we are on, and we are sitting below what we were going through for the last 20 years. And like they said here, lower prices eventually bring valuations back in line or below longer running norms. That's where we are right now. Now, if you followed the Canadian housing market, not just the Lower Mainland, you are aware of the fact that markets like Calgary, Regina, Montreal, and Atlantic Canada haven't endured as much of a correction as the Lower Mainland has. And while we were begging for offers in the Lower Mainland, other areas in Canada were seeing multiple offers on well-priced, not even lower-priced or bidding-priced properties. And because we're not building any single-family homes, that is the market in quality regions where they expect it to tighten first. But no surprise here, smaller condos will continue to struggle well into 2027. But according to them, demand and supply will eventually rebalance because that is the cyclical nature of the real estate market. We can't forever always be in a bear market. It is going to change, it is going to turn around at some point in time. And demand can change very quickly based on policy, based on sentiment towards the market, but the supply pipeline takes years to complete and absorb. And so hopefully going forward, we will have a more well-behaved cycle to look forward to. Now, they're not necessarily implying that it's going to be a fast recovery, and it could drift into 2027 until affordability and the investment arithmetic get more compelling. We do not have investors in this market, and that was 20 to 30% of the market during the high times. So hopefully that next cycle will be a little bit more subdued and normal alongside that flatter demographic and demand growth, the same that we have had for a very long time, that 1% population increase, not 2 or 3% that we saw that caused a lot of these issues in the Canadian housing market.